A chief of police is the title given to an appointed official or an elected one in the chain of command of a police department. Particularly in North America, a chief of police may also be known as a police chief or sometimes just a chief. While some countries favor other titles such as commissioner or chief constable, a police chief is appointed by and answerable to a national or local government, with the main exception being elected sheriffs in the United States. The precise role of a chief of police varies by country and sometimes within a country. The larger a police force or department, the more likely that some duties will be delegated to mid-ranked officers. The following list is a general sense of the actions and responsibilities held by any chief of police. Police chiefs are usually sworn police officers, and therefore wear police uniforms and have the power of arrest, though there are exceptions. In practice, their work is administrative in all but the smallest police departments. The rare occasions when police chiefs make arrests have drawn media coverage. In 2014, Bernard Hogan Howe chased a group of fare evaders and made an arrest. A taxi driver had approached Hogan Howe for help, unaware that he was the city's police commissioner. In 2017, Los Angeles Police Department Chief Charlie Beck arrested a police officer on suspicion of a sexual offense. Quote, Chief of Police, South Coast British Columbia Transportation Authority Police Service, Quebec City and the Surrey du Quebec, in the province of Ontario. A chief of police must be a sworn police officer and therefore have completed training at the Ontario Police College or have served a probationary period with another recognized police force. This requirement is legislated in the Police Services Act of Ontario. The legislation states in Section 2 that a chief of police is a police officer. Section 44.2 of the PSA defines the training requirements. There was a case in the police department of Guelph, Ontario, where a human resource manager was promoted to the position of deputy chief but was required to complete training at the OPC. The candidate is selected by a police services board. Ranks below the chief are stylized as deputy chief, deputy chief constable and deputy commissioner or associate director. In Indonesia, the chief of the National Police of Indonesia is often colloquially dubbed Kapolri, an acronym of Kepala Kepolisian Negara Republik Indonesia, meaning head of the National Police of the Republic of Indonesia. He is also a 4-star ranking officer in the National Police. The National Police Chief is elected by the President based on the approval of the House of Representatives and is directly responsible to the President. Since Indonesia adopts the system of a unified national police, the Chief of the Indonesian National Police holds strong responsibility in policing authorities nationally across Indonesia. The police chief usually conducts strong relations and work together with the commander of the National Armed Forces, in line with the general features of unified structure of local governments. All chiefs of the Indonesian police, at district level in Indonesia, are subordinates of Kapolri, the national police chief. In the United Kingdom, the chief police officer for 43 of the 45 territorial police forces and the 3 special police forces holds the rank of chief constable. The exceptions are the Metropolitan Police Service and City of London Police, where the chief police officer instead holds the rank of commissioner. The umbrella term for the chief constables and commissioners is chief police officer. The term chief officer, by contrast, includes the chief police officers and their deputies and assistants. The National Police Chiefs Council is the association for chief officers. The rank of commissioner should not be confused with the police and crime commissioners. They are elected officials who oversee a police force and how its funds are spent, rather than being police officers. Chief of Police is the most common title for the head of a local police department. Alternate titles for a chief of police include police commissioner, colonel, police superintendent, police president or police director. In large urban areas, some departments are led by a civilian overseer, usually referred to as a commissioner. The New York City Police Department is one such case, where the police chief is the most senior sworn officer. A sheriff is the chief of a county law enforcement agency. Although sheriffs are not usually counted as police chiefs, their agencies usually have the powers and role of a police department. Some sheriff's agencies are limited to non-policing matters such as courtroom security. The usual difference between a sheriff and a police chief is that sheriffs are elected and responsible for a county, whereas a police chief manages law enforcement in a city or town and is appointed by its local government.